LinkedIn scalping. Go on LinkedIn, go to your ChatGPT or Claude. You say, this is my degree, data science. I'm looking for a company that would be accepting an intern with my resume experience. List me 25 companies in an hour commute from this location, meaning your house where you live. You go on LinkedIn and you have your list from ChatGPT. It says 25 companies that would be likely to have say you do finance, an entry level finance position, these 25 companies. And obviously you like sift out JP Morgan. You're not going to go on LinkedIn to get them. It's more like smaller companies. Yeah. Go on their LinkedIn and you just press people. It's public. Who works there is public. You just press connect on every single person until it says stop. And then the next week you do it again and again. And if you do that for 50 weeks, you've now sent out like 1,000 invitations. And of that 1,000 invitations from that year, about 100 will accept you. About 100 of the 1,000. And then you DM all those 100 people. And you just ask to talk. You're just like, hey, I see you work at this company. I'd love to talk to you and get to know your process. Same way you said, hey, do you want to talk? I said, yeah, of course. Most people love to talk. Everyone, like, if someone says, hey, do you want to talk about yourself? Most people are going to say yes. So you say, hey, do you want to talk? You have 15 minutes for me on a call. Of the 100 people you ask, 60 people say yes. You get on a call with them. You just ask them, chat up. Hopefully you can hit off. Oh, you like soccer? I love soccer. You like the Brooklyn Nets? I love the Brooklyn Nets. Hopefully you have something, make a connection. And then at the end of it, if they can't help you, a lot of times they'll be like, here's the person that can help you at the company. Or they'll be like, here's someone I know at a different company. So then that 60 original chats comes down to like 25 people. I literally have a spreadsheet that I have sifted down from like 5,000 invitations to 25 helpful people. So it's like 25 people in hiring positions at companies. And then email all of them, and all of them, oh, we're not hiring right now. But what you do is you put a notification on their hiring. And then when they do have a position open, instead of applying, you go straight to your contact that you have on Gmail. You say, hey, to the hiring manager, hey, I saw you guys have a position that was applicable for me. Hey, can we talk? And then they say, yeah, of course, we'll interview. So then you're one of the 3 or 4 people they're choosing for the position. And that is the job market today. That is the only way to get a job without your dad having a friend getting you a job, or your mom giving you a job at her company.
100%. Most people in their early 20s aren't lost.
They're just early.
That's right. Welcome to After the Bell, conversations for young professionals figuring out what comes next without pretending to have it all figured out. I'm your host, Nick Kaufman Mamistashvili. Welcome to my office. Will, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing great. I'm really, really happy to be here. So thank you for having me. How are you?
I'm good, man. Thank you so much for being a guest. This is really extra exciting for me because even though I have been mentoring young adults in New York, I have been mentoring young adults who are transplants of New York, and you grew up in New York. And so I'm really excited to get to know you and your story a little bit more. So thanks for being a guest.
Yeah, of course. I couldn't say no. Like, I could just tell your enthusiasm off the rip, and I couldn't say no.
So I want to talk about that a little bit. How we met. So we both decided that we wanted to get our grassroots coaching license through USSF, which is the United States Soccer Federation. And we met on the field and we were playing on the same team. And then I just boldly said, do you want to be a guest on the podcast? And you said yes.
Yeah, that's how easy it is when you're just playing soccer with someone. And I've been looking for an opportunity to like practice my speaking and like getting in depth and articulating myself. So it was perfect.
Perfect, man. I love it. So tell the people a little bit about yourself and where you're at right now.
Yeah, I'm born and raised in South Slope, Brooklyn. I haven't moved. I played soccer my entire childhood. And then I started playing goalie at like 11, 12, and I stuck with it. And then I played in the U.S. Soccer Development Academy, which is like the old MLS Next, which then I transitioned to MLS Next with it at BW Gotchi for like 8 years. And then I played D1 soccer at Bryant University for my 4 years, and I graduated with a degree in data science. And I just started working full time doing marketing analytics from home. So I work right here full time. And like you said, I was getting my coaching license because I'll be coaching a U10 boys team in the fall part time, 3 times a week. So that is where I'm at right now.
I love it, man. So is that a Brooklyn soccer club that you're coaching?
Yeah. So it's FC Copa, and they have a Brooklyn team, and they train at Aviator. It's a really full circle moment though, because the coach that got me into that was my original coach before Gotchi. So like my coach from 6 to 11. So my grassroots coach reached out to me and was like, "Hey, I see you're graduating. Are you looking into coaching at all? I'm going to be working with him."
That's amazing. What is your coach's name?
David Atkinson.
David Atkinson. Shout out to David Atkinson.
Yeah.
Dude, that
Yeah.
is a full circle moment. Man, that's exactly what this podcast is about.
Yeah.
Mentors pouring into people who then encourage and inspire the next generation to pour into the next ones.
Exactly. Yeah. And I
That's
like when he said it to me, it felt so right. It just felt so
mm,
right. Yeah, I'd love to come back and coach grassroots with you, who got me into the sport. He's a British coach, and like he got
cool.
me into my Premier League team, and my parents didn't play soccer or anything, so he was the guy to like walk me through that grassroots period of your soccer career.
I can relate. Neither of my parents played soccer either. And then as soon as me and my two brothers could start playing soccer at 4 or 5, my dad started playing with some buddies, and then he ended up coaching all three of our teams. That's amazing that you had a coach who could help teach you the ropes and help you excel at a high level, because you got involved fast and you got involved deep and you went all the way to Division 1. And so you said you were a goalie. Are you going to coach goalies for this Brooklyn team?
Yeah, so I'm gonna do their entire like their club's goalkeeper sessions on Monday. So
Mhm.
that'll be like 3 goalkeeper sessions, and then I'm gonna have my own team that I'm head coaching as well, which will
So
be
cool, man.
yeah, it'll be fun. I'm excited. I've been coaching like throughout college, but I've never like solely head coached an entire season. So jumping into the deep end with that, but I'm excited.
That's very exciting. I love it, man. Well, I thought that Anthony from USSF did such an amazing job with the on-field training for us. So I'm pretty confident that you'll be able to roll the ball out there and help these boys play quality soccer.
Yeah, I honestly was surprised. Like, there's definitely a narrative with the U.S. soccer system, especially when you hear people say, "Oh, well, why is the U.S. worse than Europe?" It's always like fingers point to the U.S. soccer system.
Mhm.
And I don't know, playing a part of it and being now a part of the coaching part of it, I feel like is there much better they could be doing? I've now had coaches from England, Spain, Portugal. I don't know. I'm not seeing much of a difference. I'm not seeing this big notable difference that would lead to these difference in quality of teams.
Yeah, Greg Berhalter, who is a former U.S. men's national coach, he had commented about how the transfer marked and the caps on the teams between U.S. and Belgium is not that large of a gap. I don't think you can consolidate it into one issue as the problem of soccer in the U.S. It's interesting that you have these coaches from different countries. It just feels very New York. If you go to maybe a Wyoming, you're just not gonna get that, you
Yeah.
know? Do you feel like that is true, or do we just need to do a better attaching ourselves to the system that's in place?
Yeah, I'd say within the youth systems, the majority of the coaches were American, actually.
Mm,
And then
mm,
at the college level, it's really not that. It's a lot of foreign coaches too.
yeah.
My head coach is American, and all of his assistant coaches were foreign. My head coach was the best of the five. Those assistant coaches are really good. I don't really think there is a nationality thing. I think there's really quality American coaches. I don't think that our youth system is that far behind other countries. From U10 onwards, I had goalkeeper training before practice. I had goalkeeper training 3 to 4 times a week before practice. Like the youth system isn't bad. I think it's people trying to draw conclusions that don't know the whole story.
Yeah, there's people all over the map. There's a lot of foreign soccer players who are professionals and have some very strong opinions because they see the US never making it to the quarterfinals in the World Cup and other things. There's also former American players who feel like we thought it was getting better, but it's not getting better. In my opinion, which has never been expressed publicly, I think that the size that we have to scale to in the US makes the gap more noticeable. So when you have 350 million people in a country and soccer's never been the most popular sport.
Hey, soccer just passed baseball this
Is
year.
that right?
That's a big jump right
That's
there.
that's massive. America's pastime, now maybe it's gonna be football. You'll have to change the name
But there's
too.
still a couple more sports to go, but it's one.
It's one. We knocked it off the list. I like it. But, I think the logistics of trying to get a singular system all moving in the right direction. There has been massive improvements across MLS. I was just talking to a couple of friends from MLS this week, and they were saying that they're really excited to roll out some new curriculum, new brand marketing, new events, campaigns, and even at the youth level within MLS Go and MLS Next, some new structure.
What
So
is
I
MLS
think it's
Go?
coming. So
I'm
MLS
sorry.
Go, no, it's good. I'm glad you asked. So MLS Go is MLS recreational league. So
I like
kids
it.
who maybe are not prepared to do the competitive thing can get into the recreational leagues and have the structure of MLS.
That's really cool. That wasn't around when I had been there, so it's news to me.
Yeah,
But
it's a lot newer. Yeah. I used to lead a refugee soccer club that was focused on mentorship and helping refugee families navigate life through empowering their boys on and off the field. We never could really define a pathway to become a professional. We had one player who is now playing in MLS Next, but we've never had a player go pro from the program, and the program's been around for 12 plus years. One of the things that I was trying to do was build a pathway for youth players to understand how to get in the pro pipeline. You were involved in MLS and you were also played D1. That is a dream for our refugee boys. Could you speak onto your path and then your understanding of what the path to success in general looks like across the United States?
yeah, I think it's honestly like an answer that people don't really want to hear. Everyone that plays soccer is in love with the sports. So in your mind, you're an athlete before you're a student. So my answer is not what people want to hear. The best thing to do is always to go to some sort of college. You could go to JUCO, you could go to anywhere you want, D3, D2, D1, D8, whatever it needs to be, because you need to play both hands at the same time. Everyone that goes pro early, you know by the time you're like 15 or 16 if you're in that discussion or not. The guys that go pro at 16, 17 don't just show up at 16, 17 to go pro. They've been like groomed in a sense through their clubs from 13. So if you're by 14 not at an MLS program, it means that you are going to need to go play in college because you're going to need more time to develop your body and how you play and also mature as a player. So I think if I had a kid, what I would do is if he by 13 to 16 or 17, if he's not at Red Bulls or NYCFC playing MLS Next Pro, then he's going to college and whatever he wants to do with that. I've seen players get drafted from all three divisions. For example, Moise Bombito, he's the Canada center back, started in the World Cup. He
Mm.
played JUCO for a year, then he went to New Hampshire. I played him my freshman year, and then he got drafted by the Rapids, and then he went to France. 4 years in a row. He went JUCO, he went D1 to where I played, then he went to Colorado Rapids, and then he went to League One in France, and then he just played in the World Cup and Copa America. My teammate this year got drafted by Inter Miami. He played JUCO, then he went to D1, transferred to my school, drafted to Inter Miami. He's playing at Dynamo now. So I don't understand why kids don't want to hear they should go to school. Go to JUCO. There's nothing wrong with that. The two best players I've played with or against played at JUCO, and they came from JUCO. You have to go to school because the other thing is, of 100 players, only 5 go pro. Of 100
Yeah.
college players, of 100 players in college, 5 or less go pro. So you need to be playing both
Wow.
hands, but you need to play both at the same time. So if it doesn't work out, you end the 4 years with a degree. Because a lot of people, they don't want to go to school and they end up like, they're like, oh, I'll just grind out MPSL and USL too until I get noticed, maybe go MLS Next Pro or USL League One. And if it happens, it happens. And if it doesn't, at the end of 4 years of trying that, you have nothing to show for it.
Yep. I agree. So what was your pathway like?
Yeah. So I wasn't great. I had a trial at Red Bulls for a month when I was a freshman in high school, and they said you can come and you're not going to play. You're going to be a practice guy. And that was an hour 45-minute commute, or I could stay in the same league just for a worse team and play. And as a goalie, you can't really not play. So I was like, all right, I'll just play. I wasn't good enough to go play at an MLS team, so I was like, okay, I'll just play at a MLS Next team. Gotcha. I played. I was decent. I wasn't the best goalie in the league, but I definitely wasn't the worst. I got a couple of NESCAC offers, which is like the academic D3 league. I got a couple of mid-major and low D1 offers. And then I made a decision between the two. Like, do I want to go NESCAC, probably play every minute, every game, or go D1? And I'm going to have a less chance to play. But if I do, I'm going to have a higher chance to go pro. So I'm betting on myself. I chose D1, but I was also a business school. I knew I wanted to do something business related. So it wasn't like I was going to go to a random school with my degree wouldn't be worth anything. So I chose the D1 route. And we were bad like to start, and that was right for me. D1 teams are in quadrants, and there's like a mathematical algorithm giving every team quadrants, just 4 quadrants, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And my team when I got there was 4, and I knew that was a team that I could play at, and I had opportunities to play. But we were so bad that we got a brand new coach, and that whole coaching staff came in, and literally from my fall of my freshman year to the next 7 semesters, we went from quad 4 to quad 1. So that, but right, but I didn't get any quad 1 offers in high school because I wasn't going to have to play at a quad 1 school. So that just meant that now my window to play originally was like probably 75% chance to be starting, and that went down to like 10.
But were you pumped about that? Because didn't you guys make like the semifinals or quarterfinals or something?
Yeah. So this year we made Elite 8 quarterfinals of the D1 tournament.
This year.
The goalie that came in for this year was a 6th year from NC State, and NC State had previously been in the Elite 8. So this is an Elite 8 goalkeeper as a 6th year Brazilian coming in. He's 6'7". That's the level that it's now gotten to. When if as a quad 4 team, I'm pretty much guaranteed to play.
Wow, that's insane. I appreciate the contrast that you are pitching here because it makes it very clear of where S tier to A tier is and where A tier to B tier is.
Those
just within
quadrants,
Division 1.
So there's 200 teams. So each of those quadrants are 50 teams. So like that's like a 8 league level difference. If you're looking at like the English football pyramid, that's 200 team difference from quad 1 to 4. So quad 1 would be like Premier League, EFL, and then quad 4 is like non-league in terms of like difference of quality between those teams. Division 1 is a huge spectrum. Like people always say, oh, D2 teams can beat D1 teams. Of course, it's a bunch of D2 teams that can beat those quad 3 and 4 teams. Can a D2 team beat a single quad 1 D1 team? Absolutely not. But like that's
respect.
Yeah.
And do you, looking back now, having had a few months to step back, are you happy with your decision to go D1 instead of D2 or D3?
I'm not happy with the result, but I am happy with the decision, being that my decision at the time was, okay, I'm entering this quad 4 team. I see myself being able to find my way into the lineup. That was my decision. My decision wasn't, this team's going to become quad 1, and I believe that I can play at a quad 1 team. So at the time, it was the right choice to make because I could have played at a quad 4 team. If it was quad 1, I wouldn't have gotten an offer. I didn't get any quad 1 offers, just in reality.
And what separates that S tier goalkeeper from where you were at?
So
besides being 6'7",
I was also a very young player. So actually, the one thing that if I had known about, I would have done was taking a gap year in New York City. I mean, if you're doing your mentorship, this is something you really should be pushing on kids, because in New York City, I had never heard of a gap year. Never heard of a gap year. I'm also graduating high school at 17, so I'm already a little behind. And my freshman class at Bryan had 12 kids. 10 kids took a gap year. So they were 19. They were 2 years older than me because I'm young 04 and they're 03s. So my entire freshman class is already 2 years older than me. So New York City, I don't know why we don't talk about it here. I don't know why no one does it, but gap years are really, really helpful. You have a window to go pro. If you want to extend your window, it's a really good tool.
So if you were going to do it over again and you're going to take a gap year between high school and going to university, how would you navigate a pathway to go pro? Try to anchor us in the moment of where you were when you left high school in terms of like where you fit into the U.S. soccer system.
Okay, so the beauty of a gap year is you also get college credit. So you're not completely wasting the time. You get like half a semester of college credit. So like the guys that got drafted, a lot of them plan it out so they graduate in the winter. So you finish your season, you get drafted, and you head off. But to go back to the question, if you're not mature enough, you need mature people in your life to be like your body's underdeveloped. I'm 6'2", but I probably weighed like 165 coming out of college. You need to put on 15, 20 pounds to play D1.
For reference, I'm 5'9", and that is my weight at the
Yeah,
end of
yeah.
soccer.
So you definitely need some mentorship to tell you exactly what you need to do within that year. You have a year to fix your problems. So like when a coach looks at you, puts your name on a whiteboard, and they list your pros and your cons, whatever those top three things are in your cons, you have a year to fix it. So if, say, as a goalkeeper, say it's my left foot, I'm right footed. You need to be able to clear a ball past the half on your weak foot if you're getting pressed. That's something that I struggled with. And if you don't know that, you need to have someone telling you that in your ear. So you go to that JUCO year with specific, tangible things that need to be fixed. And then you go into your college year as a more complete player.
So when you say gap year, what you mean is enroll in JUCO.
No, it's like a gap year is like I had friends go to Andover. It's like a boarding school, high school.
It's a continuation of school.
Yeah.
Would you say that that's only an option for like people who have affluence?
Athletic scholarships everywhere.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, that's one of the biggest challenges for the refugee boys
Yeah.
in the program is just a big part of it is knowing things, and then having people who are just going to be in your life every week who are holding you accountable. I love that you've given us an idea of a pathway. I wanted to drill down one level further. Walk me through how you get connected to the MLS. Obviously, living in a city that has an MLS team or expansion team is huge. But just like walk us through the nuances of that and anything else you want to include there.
For sure. So everyone starts rec. So like I started ASIL, and you go to your local club, which is like travel. And then even at that level, you're like 8 or 9. There's levels. There's like a B team, a C team, an A team. So it's pretty competitive. So like you figure out where you land in your local group. And then the best player leaves. He went somewhere. And then like you're there for a year and you had like seen he left. Okay, am I good enough? Let's go C. So then you go to a tryout and you try out at like 8 or 9 and you make it. And then there's like 3 teams. So then you start on like C or B. And then you move your way up. And then people just notice you. For example, at the time, the Red Bull scout, Sammy Dahoud, so he was the scout at Red Bulls. He would just come to our practices. And he had kept an eye on me for a while, and I hadn't been good enough yet. So he had probably kept an eye on me at like age 10. And then he kept an eye on me for like 2 years. And then when I was 12 going into high school, he was like, okay, you're ready for a shot. Then he gave me an opportunity to go to Red Bulls. It was like a 1-week trial, and then 2 weeks, then a month. That's how that worked. Like he was just a scout, and that was like one of the pipeline teams that he liked to feed off of. So he would just be at the practices.
Did you get the feeling that there's always someone watching, or did you have to submit videos to brand yourself?
So for youth recruiting, I didn't submit a single video. Everything was tryouts or being watched. Then there was another program called Queensboro. They were really, really, really good. It was fully funded by David Villa. So he only funded it for like 2 or 3 years. Same thing with them. So they would come to the gotcha games and they selected me and a couple other guys. And it was a really, really good program. It was professionally run. It was a full group of Spanish coaches. I ultimately decided not to go. It was my senior year, and I just wanted to stay with my team at the end. That was a bad decision. I should have gone for that. To go back to the Sammy thing, he was my first scout. He has a younger son who's born in 2010. He's a goalkeeper, and he's playing NYCFC right now. He's playing MLS Next Pro.
Nice.
And I'm like connecting him to my school to get him an offer at the school I just played at.
That's fantastic. I love that you're helping him network.
Yeah, it's just full circle.
That's really cool. You're speaking to exactly what this podcast is about. Again, with the coaching thing and now with helping other players play at a high level. You do a thing, you walk through that door and you say, here's the open door. I'd love to open it further for you. Let me know how I can help. That's really cool. Before we move on to like more mentoring things, I do want to tamp down on one more piece. When did you find soccer, or when did it find you? You said your parents didn't play and didn't know much about it. And then what kept you in it? Because being 6'2", I imagine you probably were also being looked at for like basketball and football and other things.
So it's funny. When it was USDA, they used to literally ban you from PSAL. So like you couldn't play basketball in high school. Like you literally weren't allowed to. So I didn't even have the opportunity to try it. Okay. I don't really remember what got me into it originally, but what made me like grasp me and keep me was I was just a big fan of watching it. I was a huge Ronaldo fan, and like from 2012, I made my mom buy BN Sports, and the channels be on all day because when it wasn't on, they'd be playing retro games,
Yeah.
and just watching made me fall in love. And then once I started playing goalie, it was when, of course, while I was at Atleti,
Mm.
like he had a baby face too. So seeing this young keeper be exciting with it really caught my grasp. And then out of Champions League final, he played great in. I really think that the media does not know how to judge goalkeepers. There's a lot of things to take into account. I mean, the first thing you have to do is you have to take into context. If you had asked the majority of the media 18 months ago who the best goalkeeper in the Premier League was, they would have said Matt Sells. He won Player of the Year just because his defense was doing good.
How would you judge it?
So I think one stat that is good is actually prevented. So that's like you were supposed to concede compared to what you actually did. It is good, but there's a lot of flaws in that. I think you actually have to watch. When it says save percentage 72, what saves are they making? Is it these big game-changing saves? What's the scenario? Are they making saves when they're winning 3-0? A save at 0-0 and a save at 3-0 is a big difference. For example, Pickford makes a save that he can catch. This is leading up to Norway's goal. So Pickford makes a save that he can catch. Instead of catching, he pushes out for a corner. Corner goes in. Second corner comes in. Goal, Norway's up.
Yep.
And on the stat sheet, he got a save. But in reality, that's an error led to goal. In film session, that says you caused this goal. So, like, there is this issue with how people see goalkeepers. Because then you look up, oh, what was his save percentage for the World Cup? But in reality, that was an error led to goal. That wasn't counted as an error led to goal. He could have caught it and he pushed it for a corner and they scored.
Yeah. You can see why they don't put those stats up, though, because you'd have to explain it a whole story. It'd take too much time.
In a practice, I caught a ball on a corner. I tried to throw it quick and went out of bounds. My coach said, Will, I want to stop it and say, your team doesn't have the ball right now just because you threw it out. There is consequences to every player's actions. That's a consequence to an action.
I want to talk about Neelan for a second from Norway, because he tried to basket it, and it was just like an awkward knee height, and it's just an unfortunate thing. But the announcers were saying he totally lost the game for his team, and I'm thinking, like, no. Like, yes, he could have maybe made a better save, but if you look at all the other goals he saved to keep Norway in, England could have been up 3-0 a lot sooner, you know?
Yeah,
So
I totally agree. This goes both ways. Goalies will get praised for doing nothing, and the goalies will get bashed for a simple mistake. So it's weird. I think you have to have a certain understanding of the game to understand what actually is good and what isn't good from a goalkeeper. There's moments where you see a goalkeeper go punch a ball that he could have caught, and to a naked eye, it'd be like, great punch. But in my head, I'm like, you just gave the ball back to their team.
let's talk about shifting just out of soccer for a moment, because you're a multifaceted young professional now. Tell us a little bit about what you're doing in your job that pays the bills and is beyond soccer now.
Yeah, so I knew in high school that math was my best subject by a long shot. For the SAT, I scored almost perfect on my math, and I scored below average on my English. So that's a really big discrepancy. I don't take any interest in anything else other than math as a strength. So I started majoring in math, and then I started realizing, like, okay, I'm not just getting a degree because I'm good at it. Like, what kind of jobs can I get with this? And it was like, you can be a math teacher or you can do actuary science for like an insurance company. Okay, what else can I do with it? So then I did data science, was a more modern version of it. You can integrate some computer science. Data science, you can pretty much apply to more industries. So I did that. And then I could talk a little about the job market if you want me to, because it's really bad.
Yeah, honestly, that would be one of the most helpful things, I think, for the listeners of this podcast to understand that they're not alone in probably the worst job market in the last 20 years. I'd love to hear your perspective on it.
Oh, yeah. So I played USL2 for my summers in college, which, like I said, I was playing both hands and I was subconsciously pouring more eggs into the soccer basket than the career basket. So I spent my summers playing, and now I drive an hour and a half to practice, have 2.5 hour practice, drive an hour and a half home. It's like a 6.5 hour door to door thing. So
Instead
like
of working
instead of
like a summer internship.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that was the decision I made. And I was knowing, okay, it's going to hurt me in the end, but this is what I want to do. And it's my summer and I'm going to do it. But then after I finished in the fall, I was like, okay, I can either screw off my spring or I can get an internship and work 2, 3 days a week to fill in that gap. And now there's a big gap in my resume. I have this nice soccer, I have this nice school, and there's just no work in the middle of it. So let's try to fill
Mm,
that in. So I did. So the first thing I'm going to say is that any like link you see online, the majority of time you see that on LinkedIn or Indeed, they're legally obliged to take a certain amount of applications for job postings. They are not
mhm,
using that to select their employee. They do it internally. So the thing that I did and the thing that I would encourage other people to do, the thing that I encourage my best friends to do that are looking for jobs, you have to do LinkedIn scalping. So you go on LinkedIn, go to your ChatGPT or Claude or whatever you use. You say, "This is my degree, data science. I'm looking for a company that would be accepting an intern with my resume experience. List me 25 companies in an hour commute from this location, meaning your house where you live." You go on LinkedIn and you have your list from ChatGPT. It says 25 companies that would be likely to have say you do finance, an entry level finance position. These 25 companies, obviously, you sift out JP Morgan. You're not going to go on LinkedIn to get them. It's more like smaller companies. Go on their LinkedIn and you just press people. It's public. Who works there is public. You just press connect on every single person until it says stop. And then the next week you do it again and again. And if you do that for 50 weeks, you've now sent out like 1,000 invitations. And of that 1,000 invitations from that year, about 100 will accept you. And then you DM all those 100 people and you just
mhm.
ask to talk. You're just like, "Hey, I see you work at this company. I'd love to talk to you and get to know your process." Same way you said, "Hey, do you want to talk?" I said, "Yeah, of course." Most people love to talk. Everyone, like, if someone says, "Hey, do you want to talk about yourself?" Most people are going to say yes. So you say, "Hey, do you want to talk? You have 15 minutes for me on a call." Of the 100 people you ask, 60 people say yes. You get on a call with them. You just ask them, chat up. Hopefully you connect. "Oh, you like soccer? I love soccer. But you like the Brooklyn Nets? I love the Brooklyn Nets." Hopefully you have something, bigger connection. And then at the end of it, if they can't help you, a lot of times they'll be like, "Here's the person that can help you at the company." Or
Mm,
they'll be like, "Here's someone I know at a different company." So then that 60 original chats comes down to like 25 people. I literally have a spreadsheet that I have sifted down from 5,000 invitations to 25 helpful people. So it's 25 people in hiring positions at companies. And then
that's
email
amazing.
all of them, "Oh, we're not hiring right now." But what you do is you put a notification on their hiring. And then when they do have a position open, instead of applying, you go straight to your contact that you have on Gmail. You say to the hiring manager, "Hey, I saw you guys have a position that was applicable for me. Can we talk?" And then they say, "Yeah, of course, we'll interview." So then you're one of the 3 or 4 people they're choosing for the position. And that is the job market today. That is the only way to get a job without your dad having a friend getting you a job or your mom giving you a job at her company.
100%. Yeah, I feel that I have done a very, very similar thing. I appreciate the spreadsheet as well. I talk with ChatGPT every day just to process my thoughts and reflect. And literally, the ChatGPT was saying, it's time to start the spreadsheet because your contact list has large enough.
Yeah.
So, for young professionals who are listening to this, that's very strategic. It's very practical. I love it. When you make a connection over email, two things. Do you usually go back and forth more than once? And the other thing is, what does it usually sound like when they respond to you?
Yeah. So it's always on LinkedIn for me. Well, it was. I stopped doing this at a point, but it was on LinkedIn, and I would just say, "Hey, my name's Will." I don't even give a resume or anything. I'm just like, "I'm really interested in speaking to you, getting to know what you do." Usually, they either don't respond, or if they do respond, they'll just set up a call. So it's not much chatting to start. It's just like, "Will you get on a call with me?" And then you get on the call and you talk. And then afterwards, you follow up a little bit. For example, one person I have works at Anheuser-Busch and he plays in a rec league. So I'll follow up, be like, "Hey, when does your rec league start? Can I join you or whatever?" So if it is chatting, it's not like really formal business. I really try to save the formal business stuff for in the call. I mean, this also is given that you have to be able to talk. You have to be able to get on a call with someone you never met and talk for 20 to 30 minutes and get something. You can always be like, "Hey, can I speak to you?" Get on the call and then just not say anything. You have to have a general list of, "Oh, I want to get like a couple things out of this." And if it's not going well, you have to be able to like still talk. You have to be able to be personable. So usually the professional stuff for me, actually trying to get something out of them would happen on the call. I try to like get some information out of them, whether it's, "Hey, I saw you did this AWS certificate. Is it worth it? Do you have a
Mm,
code? Do you have a referral code you can give me? Or who's the manager of your data science department? Can you connect me with them? Or do you have a friend that's at a different company?" Like, I'd have a couple of things I want to get out of it while I'm on the call. And then when I text them, I try to make it lighthearted.
I love that approach. I mean, you're obviously very personable. I wouldn't have approached you on the soccer field if I didn't think you were. And even in this call, you can just tell, like, it emanates out of you. So I guess my follow-up question for young professionals would be, let's say you got 10 people over 3 months and you have a conversation with them at some point in those 3 months. Are they all pretty similar personality types? Can you see statistically if it's certain personality types or certain job alignments?
That's a really good question. And it is so random. But I will
Hmm.
say almost everyone that has accepted a connection is someone that is friendly because it says Willem Levine and it says data science student. So seeing, okay, this kid's a student, I'm just going to accept him and see what he has to say. It already sifts out a whole group, like 90% of the population that isn't really friendly.
Probably
Just,
people you don't want to work with or for.
yeah. And then of those people that accept it, it's totally random. It's totally all ages. I've talked to older guys, younger women. For data science, London is a big hub. So I was doing
Hmm.
even like that location thing. I was like, give me some in London too, just to see it out. And I was talking to a bunch of people in London, and they were also equally random uh, sorts of people. But previously, when I said you have to be good at talking, that shouldn't be right away. Like your first call, you shouldn't be able to navigate a conversation where you're getting this, and that out of it. But you have to be able to be like, okay, this is a skill that I do need to have. I remember my first 5 calls that I did, heart's
Yeah.
racing, I'm sweating. This is like freshman year of college. I started doing it. But then I've probably done over 150 calls with people I've never met in real life.
Hmm.
It's just repetitions. The first 5, I'm stuttering, I'm sweating, I can't talk, my heart's racing. But every single one, you get a little bit better. And of course, there's
Yeah.
ones that go really well, and there's ones that don't go well.
Did you come up with this system on your own? You said you started as freshman in university, so you've been doing it for like 4 years. Did it just pop into your head one day, or where did you
No,
get
it,
this
it
idea?
was it was last resort. It was last resort. Only people I saw were getting internships were people in finance, which wasn't me, and people who had
Yeah.
direct family connections, which wasn't me.
Yeah.
Now my parents do data analytics. So I said, okay, what's the next best thing I can do? Start and connect with people. I don't get much. And I'm like, hey, mom and dad, do you have anyone you can let me talk to? And then they gave me like 2 or 3 people each. And then I got those 2, 3 people, and those 2 went to like 6 because then those 2 people gave me like 2 or 3 more people. And then as time just builds and builds and builds, and then as like my profile goes from freshman to sophomore, more people accept my connect. And then as it goes sophomore to junior, more people accept my connect. And it was really just a last resort because I saw, okay, I'm submitting 100 applications. I saw this in 2022. I'm submitting 100 applications. I'm not getting an email back besides saying we've selected someone else. I'm not going to keep doing this. I'm not going to submit another 100. This is idiotic. How can I do something else to actually make progress?
Yeah. Brilliant. The way your mind works and the way you structured it. And, I think you would have been, what, 18, 17 when that happened? I mean, that's way ahead of your years. That's a high level of maturity. So kudos to you. In these conversations that you had with these cold calls that you turned into warm connects,
You know what's so
did
funny? It really is
yeah,
a cold call. It really is a
it
cold call.
is.
And everyone says like every time people talk about sales, I'm like, oh, I feel like sales would be so bad. But then I think about it, I'm like, I did a bunch of cold calls. I'm just cold calling people to try to get something.
I actually love calling people. I wish I could throw my phone away for texting. I love talking to people on the phone. I actually like cold calling, but in the workforce, a cold call is not really a cold call. It's like a cold message that gets
Yeah.
lost in the ether somewhere. But if
Yeah.
I could pick up the phone and call somebody or pop into the office and say, can I speak to this person? I just like want 5 minutes of their time over coffee. I just know that they'll just love me,
Yeah.
Anyway, so when you have these cold calls that you turn into warm connects, following the call, do you then say, hey, it was a great call. Just want to reflect on what we talked about. And then do they end up reaching back out, or is that something that you have to initiate again down the road? Because I'm assuming you're telling them, hey, keep me in mind for any job opportunities in the future.
It's totally case by case. Now that you've said cold call, I'm looking back and like it is such a cold call because I'm sitting there for like 15 minutes trying to figure out, okay, is this person directly helpful? Usually they're not. They're usually not like a
Yeah.
hiring manager. Does it seem like they're willing to give me the hiring manager of their company? You can kind of figure it out if they want to or not. If not, then you go, okay, at least let me leave here with a name. Give me a name of someone else that might be helpful. And then when it gets towards the end, sometimes I'll be like, Will, it was great talking to you. I have a friend for you. Why don't you talk to this guy? Like one of my internships that I did, literally, I was calling some guy. He was super, super helpful. And he was like, I have nothing for you right now, but I just talked to this one guy this morning. And he said he was looking for help with something. Let me connect you with him. Got an answer from that. So sometimes they offer, like if they have something that they think would help immediately, people like helping other people, especially if it doesn't
100%.
hurt them. They'll offer, and if not, then you kind of got to pry out. Like, hey, do you have a name? Do you have anyone that might be helpful at a different company? Do you have a friend that I can talk to?
And there's no follow-up calls then. It's all like one email and then you're connected and you're off connecting with other people.
So the answer to that is yes, but there's an exception. Sometimes you will have someone that you'll have an extra call with to like a check-in. For example, my timeline, think about it, I'm first doing this freshman year. So obviously he can't hire me. I wasn't even data science at the time. I was just looking
Yeah.
for like any internship. And then a year goes by and my current boss now, I had been doing check-ins like once a year with since freshman year. I had like 4 full check-ins and that's who I ended up working for. And it started with just checking in and then it'll be another check-in. But when you're more in the ready to be hired phase, there's not really that check-in period. That's more if you're like a little earlier. Yeah.
That's brilliant, man. Wonderful tidbits and tips. Huh.
It's crazy because there's no help. People say like, oh, well, they didn't teach me how to pay taxes in high school. They didn't. In college, maybe they're helping out their resume. They're not teaching you how to get a job though, because they don't know how to
Yeah.
get a job. The people that are hired got a job in a different job market. This is
Yeah,
an
not just
entirely new,
different job market, but like even a
different
system.
process,
Higher
different system.
education is a different system altogether. Yeah. That's what career fairs are for, and they're for networking and making connections. But this is what I've seen from career fairs from my university and other universities I've been to. It's like advertised and just kind of spilled out there. And there is great opportunities, great people to connect with, but no one is teaching a course or even like a 1 hour warm up before the networking event to go, when you network, here are the key things that you should hone in on. And here's the things you should not leave without.
Yep.
I've never seen that.
Yep. No, totally. Totally. When you're going from high school to college, you have to get recruited. The best players in the country get recruited. I remember sending my email to myself and BCCing every single coach in the country on a single email. Like you have to get yourself recruited.
Yeah.
So I know what that's like. So that's kind of my mindset was already there because as a freshman, I'm like, okay, so this is just going to be the same. It's going to be the same thing. I got to get myself recruited to a place. And no one is sitting there telling you that because they don't know that. The teachers don't even know that. They haven't been hired in a business setting. Teachers were in business 20 years ago. That's where the teachers now. So not only are they not hiring, they haven't been in that process in 50 years.
About the earlier part about advocating for yourself. Nobody else is going to do it for you. You got to get creative. You got to put yourself out there. My very first guest on the podcast is one of my mentees in Brooklyn. And I was saying, you got to do what you're good at. You got to advocate for yourself. You got to put yourself out there. And if at the end of the day, you don't do it, one of the biggest issues of adults in adulthood is regret. So many adults have regrets. In the state semifinals, there was like a goalkeeper coming out and I could have tied up the goal to send it into overtime. And I just missed. I had to pull it with my left foot, my weak foot, and I just missed. And to this day, I still regret it, you know?
That's the
But that's like,
worst.
yeah. And it's such an adult thing to just have regrets. And the truth is, you got to put yourself out there every day and advocate for yourself. That's one of the reasons why this podcast exists. No offense to young adults, they just don't know how to advocate for themselves. You are like a weird unicorn. You figured it out, but
Yeah, you have to sell yourself. You're selling yourself to try to get whatever it is. If it's getting recruited, you're selling yourself to a coach that not only you're a player, but you're a person. A lot of these programs, they're trying to recruit people that they think will graduate from the program and they think are good locker room people. I've seen people not get cut that were significantly worse than people that did get cut because they were good locker room personalities. You have to sell yourself. And it sucks because when you're that age, you don't have the experience to get on the phone and sell yourself as a great person. Sometimes you're shy or introverted, but that's just a reality. There's no way around it.
That was the next question I was going to ask you. To be a good soccer player, you have to have confidence. Playing over a lifetime or a snapshot of time makes you more confident, if you're willing to put in the work. Do you think that confidence translates to the job market or the workforce or being able to confidently step into your career?
So I'd say that in the workplace, being an athlete not only is highly respected, I think every interview I've done, I have mentioned it and they have harped on it. Obviously, not all of the best workers in the workforce are former athletes, but it gives you a lot of intangibles. And it is something that is respected around all industries, even from people that never played sports in their life. So it's not just athletes hiring athletes, it's people that understand, okay, this kid has some certain intangibles. It's honestly like them saying, okay, this kid's floor is higher because he was an athlete. He's going to have certain things right now that other people may develop later.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I guess the other piece of it is when you think about preparation for a career, like you have preparation for a game or even just preparing yourself for becoming the best practice goalie that you can be, do you have certain things that you do to prepare to be ready to grilled in a job interview or put your best resume out there or have really great conversations with people you're trying to cold call?
Yeah, so I haven't done an interview or a cold call since January
Mhm.
because that's when I started working and just stopped doing that. Anyone can talk. It's just about you want to have your chest behind what you're saying. So they say, "What's three best things about yourself?" At times, I felt like I've been an introvert, and I would be like, "Oh, I feel like I'm an extrovert." Like, just say it. Like, say it like you believe it. And I mean, you're playing a game at the end of the day. Like,
Yep.
so
That's awesome.
lying is the suggestion. Lying confidently.
Or I would say projecting something that you are promising to
Manifesting,
be,
manifesting.
manifesting something you're promising to be in the future.
Who does the coach want me to be? And that's what you respond with, and you hope it happens.
I mean, ultimately, there are phases, I think, where first you have to earn the spot in order to be in the room to develop. Otherwise, it's self development with no arena. So, whatever you have to do to get your foot in the door, I will say there needs to be integrity intact. I think integrity and morals are the intangibles that I think a lot of society is missing these days. I'm not saying that what you're doing was low integrity. You're manifesting,
Manifesting.
manifesting the future you. Like, what are some things that you wake up every single day and you just go, this is who I am. This is how I'm going to show up.
Okay. So I'm like a pretty argumentative person, not in like a rude way, but like, I have no problem debating somebody
Okay.
if I disagree with something. But obviously, as like the lowest rank in a team in a company, I know my role. The last month and a half, if anyone says something I disagree with, I just go, "You are absolutely correct." We'll do that immediately. And I
Or,
think knowing your role as well, like even with the soccer, I'm trying to give you two answers for every question here. Knowing your role with the soccer, whether I mean, I think when you're young in high school, that's when you be selfish. You push, you push. How can I get myself looked at? But when you've kind of gotten to like a semi-pro environment, you got to know your role. The people that didn't get cut, they stuck around because they knew their role and they leaned into it.
mm, let's say you're not one of the starters, or maybe you're not even one of the subs that's first off the bench. So you just be sitting a lot. Obviously, keeping yourself in shape is important. Still eating well is important. And this, I think, applies to the workforce too. When you're not landing a job and you've been searching for a while, mentally, how do you keep your head in the game, both in career and as a bench sitter?
It's just such a good topic. I'm so happy you got into this topic. It is something that no words or no advice you could give someone to prepare to going into a sport that they've dreamed their whole life and then just being right below a line.
Yeah.
And I think there's one thing that immediately comes to mind, and it's
Mhm.
work life balance. So whether that's sport life, whatever, if it's now or if it's when you're in school, work life balance, you got to find an in between. So you have to be able to water all of the plants in the garden. Can't let one go dry. So if you have a girlfriend, if you have friends, you have soccer, and you have family, you have to water those four plants equally. Okay, I'm falling behind in soccer. Let me put more water into the soccer plant to try to catch up. It's really not the best decision because then I'm not going out with my friends. I had a lot of friends that didn't play sports, and in those first 2 years, I wouldn't go out a lot to go and train and try to like catch up soccer wise. But then I'm missing my opportunity to go and socialize. So then I'm ruining the work life balance. So then my quality of life throughout the week is worse because I just did 5 days of school and soccer. And then instead of enjoying myself on the weekend, I did more soccer. So then I have another 5 days of it. You need to find a balance in there. Like you need to. And that is same thing carrying straight into work. Straight into work. I know a lot of friends that are miserable because their work life balance is horrible. I have a remote job and I'm so, so, so grateful because I have more time in my day.
I like this metaphor. Are you a big plant guy?
I'm not, but I don't know how else to like explain it because I,
It's a
I made
great.
that mistake. I made that mistake, and even in high school, I made the same mistake on a different level. I put way too much water into my girlfriend pot, and it messed with the soccer and the friends pot. It made the other
Mm,
two worse. And then I even knew that going into college, and I made the same mistake again, just in a different way.
man, old habits die hard. It's tough, but like you're here now and you're learning. I think being able to self-reflect and understand things you want to change helps you not repeat the same mistakes over and over again, which will give you a more fruitful life that you dreamed of. And that's kind of where I want to take this next is what is the dream for you now?
I don't know. I like to have like goals and sense of something to work for, but like I'm fully understanding that the journey is the best part. I like to have a goal to motivate me and I can see actual progress. But that's not like saying, "Oh, this goal is what I'm dying to have." So I don't know. I really don't know. I think immediately in the short term, I hope I have a fun season coaching. I hope I do well.
Yeah. What would you say for a young adult who maybe is been in the workforce for a couple years, but now they're either out of work or they're frustrated at work and they know this job market's really tough. So maybe they don't want to leave what they're frustrated with, or they've been searching for months and feel a little helpless and hopeless. What would you say to encourage young adults like yourself in that situation?
I think everything that I've heard is that moving when you're early is really beneficial. So like moving jobs is really, really good and beneficial. It expands your network and raises your pay because when you move, you're getting promotions that are higher than your raises would be. Yes, it is really, really good to be moving, but also feasibly, you can't just quit and not have money. You have to get recruited over time. So I need to get a job offer while I'm working. So if that means that you need to be doing calls after work, that's what you have to be doing. If you have to be asking former employees that have left to help you out, or if you have to ask your coworkers, "Hey, I'm really unhappy. Do you have any friends?" You have to do that while working. Two things can be true. It can be great to move, and you have to stay at your job to have a paycheck coming in.
One of the things I'm thinking is that, not all young adults are built the same in terms of how they organize themselves and how they prioritize things. Obviously, you've done a great job of prioritizing conversations and organizing them, especially cold calls that turn into warm connects. I'm going to make that a thing.
I like that.
Yeah, like
You
me
said it
too.
with so much confidence. I thought it was a thing already.
No, this is my first time saying it. It's getting creative in the moment. The flow is good. I'm curious, what else would you say to a young adult or young professional that hasn't been really stoking those fires of connection and network? On a scale of like 1 to 10, 1 being not important at all and 10 being the most important, how important would you say adding intentional connectional time where you network and reach out matters?
I mean, for someone that needs it, 10. That might even be more important than your 9 to 5 work that you're doing at work. Is unbelievably important. Do that with faith. You can't just be spamming connects like burning your day out. You have to be doing it with some faith, have a little bit of light or sparkle in your eyes. I came to understanding what faith meant through super, super religious friend that kind of helped me. I've never been religious, but he kind of taught me what faith means to do things like in faith that I'm doing this confidently that even if what I want isn't going to happen, it's going to be worth my time.
I love that. Sounds like a great friend.
Yeah, really good friend. He like reborn religious, really, really good friend.
That's cool. That's really neat. All right, Will. So I want to wrap it up here. Is there anything that you would like to say to anyone out there who may be listening?
Something that's actually on my mind is asking questions and asking for help. I think that there is no shame in asking for help. I often will just bite the bullet instead of asking for help. Even if you're playing soccer, I want to win playing my way. Ask for help. Be willing to change. Sometimes you got to put your ego to the side for the better of yourself to get further.
That's great advice. And I want to say to everybody who may be listening, if you're looking for a mentor, you can stop because you found one in me. You can, you can check out afterthebellnyc.com to set up a free consultation. I'd love to learn about who you are and see if I'm a good fit for you as a mentor. And also check us out on Instagram, After the Bell Podcast. And Will, I've got one more thing for you. That is, we've got the France versus Spain and England versus Argentina semifinals. Who do you have? And then ultimately, who do you have winning the World Cup?
I literally cannot tell you who will win, but I would do anything for it to be France, England, and then either of the two would make me happy. France or England, I like both. I love both.
Okay, you got
But
France on one side of a coin, England on the other side of the coin. It's in the air. What are you hoping it's landed on?
hoping England, but probably
Okay.
France.
Okay. All right. I feel that. I'm actually, I think the same thing. I think that's what it's going to be.
Hopefully.
That'll be fun. Will, thank you so much for your time, man. It's really great to connect. Let's stay in touch, and I look forward to catching up with you soon.
Of course. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Cheers, buddy.
Cheers.